On a typical day, this bridge is an integral part of people's lives. It is a link that connects one community to another. People walk or drive across to and from whatever responsibilities and activities call them. On some occasions, they lean against the railing to enjoy a rare sight, a raging river flowing through the desert. However, the first and foremost function of a bridge is to overcome a natural or man-made divide. In our society, we are so enveloped or overwhelmed with our daily routines and obligations that we can be oblivious and apathetic to anything other than our own selfish needs. This is tragic because we are all supposedly natural bridge builders. A good and kind society is one that is built by those who rise above their own personal needs to bridge the gaps caused by differences and prejudices between people and groups. Life on the street is difficult, and the harsh reality is that it's a much bigger issue than society would like to accept or any of us are brave enough to realize. There are countless reasons why people find themselves in such predicaments, but the common denominator is always the same: suffering. As with anything in life, starting out for the first time is always hard. We would like you to meet Cinderella. Cinderella is a teenager and homeless. She is about to start a job at Jack in the Box. While we admire her courage, we have a very heavy and unsettling feeling, wondering how she will make it. It was a cold day when we visited her. She was shivering in her tent without a blanket. We also realized that her deeper suffering was not just due to the bitter cold outside or her lack of a blanket. She was overwhelmed with shame and self-conscious of her condition, to the point that no matter how persistent we were, she refused to meet us face to face, nor accept the sandwich we offered her. Such a response is typical for any teenager at an age where self-image is very important. It became more important than meeting her immediate needs. This is heartbreaking because she assumed that we would judge her like the others she had met. We were there to deliver a message of Christmas and that we cared for her, but we were left wondering what kind of traumatic experiences she had been through to make her doubt our sincerity. We know this is just the beginning for her. Much hardship awaits her in the days to come. Unlike Cinderella, we could not get this person under the blanket to respond. The only reason we knew that someone was there was because we saw movement. We offered him a sandwich and we asked if we could leave a Christmas present, but there was no response. There was an eerie atmosphere of loneliness because he shared the space with at least two other people, but neither could even tell us who he was. Although we had to give this person a name, we left without knowing anything about who they were. Does Blanket Man not have a care in the world? Or does he feel that the world doesn't care for him? After the first two depressing scenarios, we were overwhelmed with sadness. We wondered how we could find the motivation to go on because we were very concerned that the subsequent visits would have the same tone. We really needed a morale booster. Fortunately, that would come by way of Bruce, who opened a tiny window for us to see into his world. Bruce is a middle-aged graying man in his 50s from Massachusetts, and has been on the street for many years. He astonished us when he gave us an open bag of licorice with an almost apologetic tone, explaining that he had just opened it and wanted us to have it. We were touched because he gave us maybe the best thing he had in his tent before we even gave him anything. What a marvelous act of human generosity in the most unlikely of circumstances. One common notion as to why people end up being homeless is that their current situation is a result of their own choices. There is no doubt that addiction is one of the most prominent causes of homelessness. Homelessness is brutal and addiction is tragic, but being a woman in such a situation is most terrible of them all. Linda was an older woman who had obviously lived on the streets for a long time. We met her on two different occasions, and she could have been seen as two completely different people. The first time we met her, she was in a drunken rage. She was verbally abusive and physically aggressive when we approached her. When we returned the next day, Linda was lying among her cans of beer on the verge of unconsciousness. As we cautiously greeted her with a Christmas gift in hand, she sprang up happily. She was talkative, maybe a bit overly affectionate, and even danced on multiple occasions. It was hard for us to leave. Our hearts went out to Linda. We realized that whatever we perceived about Linda was most likely incorrect, as she was obviously under the influence of alcohol both times we came in contact with her. How terribly sad does life have to be to resort to being in a constant state of drunkenness just to forget. Sharing the home under the bridge with Linda and the blanket man is the man who has lived on the street for as long as he could remember. Eno has been homeless since 1972, 47 years.
Well, do you have any plans this year?
Well, like I said, just try to be healthy.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
Yeah. Does the community take care of you? Things like that. I mean, people around here.
Oh yes,
The system in general, the government. I mean.
Yeah, I pick my friends. I don't really hang around with anybody, because hanging out with anybody get in trouble.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah. So what do you do for Christmas? You gonna be out here or go home with kids or?
One day at a time.
One day at a time.
Oh, well, last question. What's your favorite Christmas memory?
When I was a little boy, and gathered around the Christmas tree and opened up presents.
Yeah. What was your favorite present ever?
I think it's a toy truck they gave me. I
Truck?
always wanted that one.
Hey, I like trucks and cars too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I can't drive anymore, so.
Yeah. That's good.
But I still enjoy Christmas though.
Yeah.
Did you hear that? Eno's favorite Christmas memory was when he was 5 years old. It's been almost 6 decades since he has had a meaningful Christmas. Across the river is a totally different story. We saw this small tent across the river from Linda, but we had a tough time reaching them.
You go?
After a few failed to descend under the bridge, we finally managed to reach the small tent we saw from across the river. We were shocked at what we had stumbled upon.
Yeah, you can open. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead and open it.
Oh my god, that's a lot. This is gonna be my first one.
This is gonna be my second one.
Is that right? So what's the toughest part of being out here, other than all the sheer joy that you have every day?
It's freezing.
Cold?
You're just the wind. For me, it's
Even
just,
5 of you is still freezing.
For me, this is my second time having to do this though, so it's like it's more just having a problem of where I'm going to go to the bathroom safely. Because, I mean, holy crap, where am I gonna put that stuff?
Is it tougher for the ladies than the guys? Sorry.
It is because we have yeah.
So how do you manage? Are there organization nearby?
Rags, bathrooms, yeah. Yeah.
So were you guys friends, or you found each other while you were out here in the wild?
Oh, we're just friends.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Did you guys all from Tucson? So what is it like, especially for you to be out here for a couple Christmases? What is it like when Christmas comes in? Is it hard or?
It's hard.
It's hard. Miss family and stuff like that.
We do have family, but they were different. So.
You have each other. Hey, a lot of things you have here, people will, kind of envious for. You guys stay safe out here? What happened when you get sick and things like that? I mean, you guys take care of each other?
I understand it.
Oh. And so who's the youngest here? You, and how old are you? 14? I have a daughter who's 14. And you related to anybody or just all friends?
Yeah.
Your sisters or? So any of you want to say anything to our young people about Christmas and what you remember Christmas for, what your favorite thing about Christmas, best Christmas memory, and the message for them?
Always believe in Santa.
Always believe in
Always
Santa.
believe in Santa. No matter what.
Well,
And keep the good times in your mind, not the bad. Keep the good times in your mind. Always.
don't chase girls, you said?
Don't shoot them all.
Don't shoot her up. What is the secret to keep five raging, energetic young people live together in one room like this? My kids wouldn't want me to be in her room. Friendship.
Friendship, yeah. It's really crazy, but we're all pretty good.
What's your name?
Emmy?
Emmy?
Yep.
Sam?
Ethan?
Ethan?
Larissa?
Larissa?
Chris?
Chris? Super. Well, thanks for being our friends. We'll let you enjoy your early Christmas.
Thanks so much. Thank you.
All right.
When we first set out, our mission was to brighten someone's day. We were in for a big surprise. We were about to meet some amazing people who actually brightened our day. We introduce you to Uncle Dave.
So Dave, where are you from?
Originally, I'm from Illinois. I spent the last almost 10 years up in Montana.
Oh wow,
Way up north, yeah.
So what brought you down here?
Warmer weather.
Okay.
That and lost my job. I got hurt. Couldn't work anymore, so I came down here because I knew it was warm and better climate.
Okay. Montana's beautiful though.
Oh yeah,
Mountains,
it is.
Yeah, beautiful. All right, Dave. What's your favorite Christmas memory?
My favorite Christmas memory? Oh wow. I don't know. I was probably 5, 6 years old, I guess, and a huge snowfall. Waking up Christmas morning, there was snow just everywhere, massive amount. This would have been what, probably 1960, 1961, somewhere in there.
So does it ever get lonely out here?
Sometimes. Got a radio, got music, that makes a difference. Magazines.
Yeah. So Dave, if you're just talking to a group of young people, do you have any words of wisdom that you would give them? Anything about your life experiences, anything you've learned over the years?
First thing, stay in school, get an education.
Okay, I should have taken
that
advice.
Number one thing. That's the number one thing.
I wish I would have met you about 10 years ago, Dave.
Stay in education, or stay in school, get an education, get a trade or a skill, then make the most of it.
Anything else you want to say to the people, Dave?
Yes. Merry Christmas and God bless all.
Well, thank you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. We thought that Dave was the only one who lived there, but he introduced us to his neighbors who lived nearby.
Hey.
And here is Kenneth and April's tent.
We're not invited.
You brought that camera?
Yeah. Oh, they brought a camera and everything.
Oh, well, that's okay.
No, that's awesome.
Okay, great.
That's awesome.
Well, we have a gift for you for Christmas. You can open. Okay, you can open now, or you can wait till Christmas. That's fine. That's okay. We document a little bit. That's fine, right?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mind if I ask you just a few questions?
Go for it.
All right. So are you from Tucson originally?
Yes,
Yes? All your whole life?
born and bred.
Born and bred? Okay. So how long have you been out here?
This time over a year.
Over a year? So this time? So that's happened?
Yeah, I lived out here like 15 years ago in the same desert
Oh, okay.
for 2 years.
2 years?
Yeah, it's nice actually.
It's nice?
I like being away from society.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any particular reason? Or
Too much drama.
that's understandable. Yeah. It's pretty common.
Too much drama. Yeah.
Oh, we didn't get April.
April.
Sure.
She's been excited about it actually.
Cool. Really. And it's like,
April,
how many people that come out here?
have 4 kids, and the oldest is 22.
Six.
Oh, 6?
Yeah.
Oh, 6 years.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, well,
My youngest is going to be 18 on the 17th next week.
Wow.
So it's kind of it's different, but we've been out here for a little over a year, and let's see. Well,
Is it safe out here?
it is actually. I feel a lot safer out here than in the city.
Well, that's true.
That is.
True. How many homes are there around here?
there's a
there's
few people out here, yeah.
There's a total.
We got this young girl that
Yeah.
we're helping out, staying in one of my tents right next to us.
Yeah.
And we knew her and her boyfriend years ago, and she needed to be somewhere better than she was. She got kicked out on the street. She's sleeping in tunnels. So.
Yeah.
Still now?
Well, she was. No, now she's staying over here, and I don't know if she's here right now.
Oh,
she just got hired as
Jack in the Box.
Jack in the Box. Yeah. So she's been.
Oh, we got a sandwich for her. We'll make sure we take home. Yeah.
She'd love it too.
Yeah. Wow.
You know, everybody's got their, own ways of living. I mean, no matter where you're at.
Yeah.
You know, but
you make
out
it home.
here,
you make it home.
Exactly. Home is where you lay your head and where you feel safest. And you feel safer out here. So, I don't know what homes you come from, what kind of lives you come from. And I'm not going to judge. I'm not anywhere near close to judging anybody ever. I said, but if you think that anybody in your family doesn't care, I said, you're wrong. And if they don't, I said, there's people that live out here that do care. And I said, come down and come and see, how we live. Come and see what life is like. It's not always fun,
Especially if you don't make that decision yourself.
Exactly.
If you choose to be out here, you're obviously prepared to be living like this. We chose to come here. And there's people that have no choice. And they have no idea how to begin and end any of it.
Yeah. They resort to, stealing and bringing other people or whatever. And we really promote family.
Yeah, it's big.
Yeah, it is.
Definitely.
It's important to love one another, but love yourself.
Right.
Do you have any message that you'd like to send to young people or people like our age?
Maybe don't take shit for granted.
Yeah, I think that's really easy to do sometimes.
It is really easy to do.
I'll admit that.
Well, in every of our heart young people,
we
love this adventure.
Yeah. It is definitely an adventure.
Yeah.
And I think that it humbles you. That's very important, to humble yourself.
All right, well, thank you. Do you have anything you'd like to message for young people?
Well, definitely. Well, we both went to school. We finished school, so we got diplomas. I mean, we both went to college. So I would say stay in school definitely. But have more respect for people in general
and yourself.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Nice meeting you.
You too.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Nice meeting you.
Yeah, nice meeting you.
We started the day thinking that we were the ones that had something to give, only to realize that kindness and generosity are a part of human nature. These special people showed us that you're never too poor to give. Bruce gave us the most valuable food item he had. Dave acted as a kind uncle, wise man, and protector for his neighbors. Ken and April took on the role of guardians for Cinderella. Being poor does not necessarily strip away your dignity. We saw this in Ken and April. They were caring and selfless. Although they didn't have much, the only things they asked for were a blanket for Cinderella, food for their animals, and water for themselves. What have we done? What's the purpose of visiting? Is it to make us feel less guilty? Feeling sorry for them? Where does the church stand on the issue of the poor today? For every day that we pretend this is not a problem, they are disappearing into the empty spaces they call home, where their dinner awaits next to a filthy, pungent, dark tunnel. It's so easy to equate Christmas to gifts, programs, and flashy shows. To celebrate the event of Christ Emmanuel, the one who bridged the abyss between mankind and God, the one who came into the world just to reach the weak and the poor, churches today sadly put up costly and meaningless shows. Perhaps today, we Christians should act as a real bridge, one that can take us across any kind of barrier, division, self-indulgence, and selfishness to reach out to others. People who linger and languish behind the bushes in the desert or under bridges, like these people, living in such conditions less than a mile from this church. Jesus left his kingdom and crossed into our world to bring us joy this Christmas. So So why is it difficult for us to cross that bridge and bless these people?